The Valkyrie and the Witch. Even the fallen wings remember how to rise. Chapter 1. Echoes of War. The smell of iron always wakes before I do. Even now, centuries after the first blade met my skin, it's the same metal, rain, and the faint sweetness of dying embers. When my eyes open, the world is quiet. Too quiet. No hymns from the halls. No wings cutting through the storm to take me home. Only the hiss of the wind dragging itself across the broken ground. Bodies lie scattered like discarded prayers. The battle should have been my last. I carried my fallen warrior, felt his soul rise in silver light, and waited for the pull of Valhalla. But when the light came, it was not for me. I awoke again, bound to flesh and bone. Mortal. Trapped. The gods have forgotten me. Or worse, they remember and have chosen silence. I sit up slowly, my armor splintered, my once white feathers blackened with soot. The landscape around me looks both ancient and new. Ruins, cars, steel husks of machines scattered between the stones of what once was a fortress. Time has changed again. It always does. Each awakening throws me into another age that doesn't belong to me. My name is Gerd Madra, shield-bearer, chooser of the slain. I have fought through empires, carried kings and cowards alike, and watched civilizations choke on their own glory. I was meant to rest among my sisters in Valhalla long ago. But instead, I keep waking up reborn, remembering everything. And every time, I wonder what sin chained me here. A crow lands on a fallen helmet near my knee. It tilts its head, eye bright as a shard of obsidian. For a heartbeat, I think it might be him, the All-Father, watching through one of his messengers. But the crow only blinks and croaks, still not enough. I almost laugh. Perhaps I've gone mad enough to imagine birds speaking now. I push to my feet. The world wavers. My strength flickers like a candle guttering in the wind. I have learned to hide the truth of what I am, to wear humanity like a disguise, but in moments like this, I feel the wings pressing against my back, desperate to break free. The storm above thickens. Thunder rolls. My sisters would be flying now, laughing in the chaos, guiding the souls home. I feel them so faintly, like echoes under my skin. I did my part, I whisper to the sky. Why am I still here? No answer. There never is. I start walking toward the valley below. Each step sinks into mud and memory. I have wandered every century, monasteries, trenches, city streets, deserts, and found nothing that sets me free. Not death, not devotion, not time. But the crow follows me, its voice sharp and amused. You'll find her soon. Her, I murmur. The bird only ruffles its wings. The one who burns but does not die. I stare at it. A witch, then. It caused once agreement, warning, prophecy, I can't tell, and takes off into the rain. I should ignore it. I've heard 1,000 riddles since the first dawn of my exile. But something in me stirs. A whisper I can't silence. The air feels different, charged, alive, as if the earth itself knows what's coming. Maybe this time, the story will change. Maybe this time, I'll find what keeps me bound. Chapter 2. Ash and Bone. The world has changed again. Every time I awaken, I recognize less of it. The tongues are new, the war sharper, the gods quieter. But humanity remains the same, still searching for meaning between ashes and bone. I walk among them unseen, a ghost that still breathes. They hurry through streets of glass and smoke, chasing things they'll never carry beyond their brief lives. Their eyes burn with the same fire I once saw in warriors charging toward death, but now it's for coins, for pride, for nothing at all. I wear a coat instead of armor, jeans instead of leather straps, but I can't disguise what's beneath. The weight of centuries presses against my ribs, and sometimes I feel my wings stir, like a phantom heartbeat. At night, I bind them tight beneath my shoulder blades in case the light tries to break through. I rent a room above an old apothecary in a forgotten town that smells of salt and rain. The woman downstairs sells herbs and tinctures to those desperate for healing, none of which can touch me. I've tried them all, roots, charms, prayers. I've walked through sacred fires and begged old gods for answers. I've died a dozen ways and woken each time to the same cursed sunrise. When I sleep, I dream of Valkyries, their laughter like thunder, their wings like storms. I hear my sisters calling through the clouds. Sometimes I see them turning toward me, their hands outstretched, and then something pulls me back, like a hook through my soul. And so I remain. The town is quiet. Fishermen rise before dawn, bells toll from a distant chapel, and children run through puddles with laughter sharp as gull cries. It's peaceful, which makes it unbearable. Until the night I see her. It's raining, the kind that turns the streets silver and makes the world feel like a dream. I pass the apothecary window and catch a reflection that isn't mine. A woman stands across the road, hood drawn, candlelight glinting against her eyes. There's something ancient there. A current that hums in my blood, a tug that makes my pulse stumble. She watches me as if she's been waiting. And then she smiles. It's not soft, it's knowing. Dangerous. The kind of smile that feels like prophecy. I blink and she's gone. But when I turn toward the door of my room, the air hums with her scent, pine, smoke, and something wild. My hands tremble. I should not be afraid, but I am. Because I've met witches before. They see too much. They remember what the world forgets. That night, the dreams change. A moon of 3 petals, trillium, glows above an ancient grove. A voice whispers my name, not in reverence, but in recognition. And for the first time in centuries, I wake not in despair, but in hunger. Not for war. For truth. Chapter 3. The Witch of Blackwater Hollow. The storm had not stopped for 3 days. The townsfolk said it was the sea taking back what was owed. I knew better. Storms were never accidents. They were invitations. By dusk, the power went out. The apothecary closed early, and the narrow streets filled with candlelight. I pulled my hood low and followed the scent that had haunted my dreams since the night of the trillium moon, pine, smoke, and wild heather. At the end of the lane stood a small shop wedged between a chapel and a boarded-up bakery. The sign above the door read Blackwater Hollow Botanica. The rain hissed against the windows, and I felt my pulse stutter. Every part of me whispered, don't. Every part of me that still lived whispered, go. Inside, the air was thick with incense and crushed petals. Shelves lined the walls, bottles, stones, jars of things that still hummed with magic. And behind the counter stood the woman from the rain. She looked younger than I expected and older than anyone had a right to be. Her hair fell in a dark cascade, streaked with silver strands that caught the candlelight like threads of moonlight. She glanced up, eyes the color of storm water, and for a moment I forgot how to breathe. Rough night to be out, she said, voice low and steady, like a spell half-spoken. I've known worse, I answered before I could stop myself. Her mouth curved. You smell like iron and thunder. I froze. Most people smell salt, sweat, or fear. Not that. She tilted her head. What's your name? Names have power, but she already had mine written somewhere behind those eyes. Gerd Madra, I said quietly. Her pupils dilated just slightly. That's Old Norse, isn't it? Valkyrie. A chill crawled down my spine. You know your history. I know my kind, she murmured, stepping closer. And you don't belong here. Her presence pressed against me like heat from a forge. The longer she stood near, the more the dull ache in my wings turned to fire. I could almost feel feathers straining against my skin. Light shimmered briefly along my shoulder blades before I clenched my fists to hide it. What are you doing to me? I whispered. She smiled, and it wasn't cruel, it was curious. I think that's the wrong question. The better one is, what are we doing to each other? Her hand brushed mine as she passed a candle across the counter. Sparks danced between our fingers, tiny, gold, alive. For an instant, the world narrowed to that single touch. I'm Rain, she said. Rain Thornheart. Witch of this storm, apparently. The thunder outside cracked, answering her name. I managed a breath. You're the one the crow spoke of. Her brow arched. A crow sent you here? Of sorts. Rain studied me as if she could see every lifetime behind my eyes. Then I suppose we were meant to meet. Something in her tone made me want to believe it. But fate has always been cruel in its kindness. When I turned to leave, she said softly, you can't keep hiding your light, Valkyrie. The world will notice soon enough. And when I looked back, The candle she'd given me burned with a flame shaped like a wing. Chapter 4. The Pull. I told myself I wouldn't go back. It's what I always tell myself after every spark of connection, after every mortal who makes me forget that I am not supposed to belong. But the candle Rain gave me would not die. I tried snuffing it out, drowning it in water, burying it under cloth, but the flame simply waited. It pulsed faintly, as if it breathed. On the third night, the whisper began. Not words, just a rhythm beneath my ribs, the same cadence I used to hear before battle, when Odin's raven circled and fate leaned close to listen. By morning, I found myself standing before the Botanica again. Rain was already outside, rolling a bundle of herbs in her hands. The storm had broken, leaving the air heavy and electric. She didn't look surprised to see me, just smiled that half smile that made me feel like she'd dreamt this too. Couldn't stay away? She asked. I should have. Yet here you are. Her voice slid over my nerves like silk and lightning. I didn't answer. The truth was, every step away from her had felt like walking against gravity. Rain motioned toward the woods behind the shop. Come. There's something I want to show you. I followed, though every instinct screamed that this was how mortals met their undoing. We walked through moss and mist until the path opened into a grove. Sunlight lanced through the branches, striking a pool at the center. The water shimmered faintly violet, alive with old magic. This is where the trillium grows, Rain said, kneeling to touch the surface. The heart of the Coven's bond. I thought it was dormant. But it started glowing again the night you arrived. The air hummed. My skin prickled. When she reached out, her fingertips brushed my wrist, and the world cracked open. Light exploded through me. My wings tore free in a rush of heat and sound, each feather catching the sun in blinding gold. The ground trembled. I gasped as centuries of exhaustion burned away in one breath. Rain didn't flinch. She only stepped closer, eyes wide, mouth parted in awe. Gods, she whispered. You're beautiful. The words struck harder than any sword. I stumbled back, folding my wings tight. Stop. You don't understand what I am. Then show me, she said softly. Let me. The glow pulsed again, wild, defiant. Memories flashed behind my eyes, a battle at Kirhome, a woman's scream, a blade turned by betrayal. I saw a symbol branded into a shield, the Trillium Moon. When the vision faded, Rain was still there, her hand hovering near mine, close enough for warmth but not touch. What did you see? She asked. Pieces, I said. A past I thought was gone. And something else, a connection between your coven and my sisters. Rain exhaled slowly. Then maybe you weren't meant to leave. Maybe you were meant to remember. I wanted to argue, but the wind rose and carried her scent, pine and storm and safety, and for the first time in ages, I felt alive. Alive and terrified of what that might mean. Chapter 5. A Taste of the Old Magic. Rain led me deeper into the grove, each step stirring the mist at our ankles. The light through the leaves flickered like fire over my skin, and I could feel it again, the pull of power I had buried for lifetimes. You're afraid, she said softly, walking beside me, her fingers occasionally brushing mine. The touch was electric, almost unbearable. Of yourself. Of what you can do. I didn't answer. She was right. I had spent centuries fearing my own wings, my own glow, because every surge of power reminded me of battles I could not forget, of lives I could not save. She stopped in a circle of violet flowers, trillium petals pressed against the moss like stars fallen to earth. Rain knelt, placing her hands over mine. Close your eyes, she said. Feel, don't think. I obeyed, letting the rhythm of the grove seep in. Wind whispered through branches. The scent of wet earth filled my lungs. And then, faintly, I felt the glow beneath my skin, like embers waiting to burn. Good, she murmured. Now open your wings. I hesitated. Centuries of hiding them made the gesture feel like a sin. But the moment I lifted my shoulders, feathers unfolded with a hum of energy, trembling at first, then strong and fierce. Gold and white light shimmered along their lengths. Beautiful, Rain breathed. Your power isn't just for war. It's alive, like it's remembering who you are. I flinched at her closeness. The warmth of her presence made the magic roar louder, more insistent. The wings wrapped around me instinctively, and I could see fragments of the past battles, covens, Valkyrie sisters flickering through the edges of my vision. "Every lifetime you've lived, it's all here," she whispered. "And every memory has led you to this moment." Her fingers brushed my cheek. For a heartbeat, I forgot everything: battles, pain, exile. The centuries of solitude, the endless rebirths vanished. "I don't know if I can control it," I admitted, voice low. "Every time I try, it takes over. I've burned cities in my own hands. I've burned myself." "You've also carried the fallen to Valhalla," she reminded me. "Saved lives. Loved lives. You're stronger than you think." The wind picked up. I could feel it echo in my bones, the raw pulse of magic that had been locked away. Rain guided me, teaching me to channel it, to let it flow without fear. Light swirled along my feathers, radiating outward until the grove glowed in unearthly hues. "You're learning," she said with a soft laugh, the sound wrapping around me like a spell. "And I'll be here, every step." "You're not alone, Madra." I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe in her. But centuries of solitude do not vanish with a touch, no matter how warm, no matter how honest. Still, as the petals shimmered under my wings, I felt something I hadn't dared feel in lifetimes: hope. And beneath it, a thread of something darker, more insistent, the pull of destiny, of love, of a power that refused to be ignored. Chapter 6: Threads of the Trillium Moon. The night was heavy with mist, each breath tasting of rain and moss. The grove felt alive, pulsing beneath my feet like a heartbeat I had almost forgotten existed. Every time I glanced at Rain, her presence stirred something deep inside me, a current of power that resonated with mine, and a tenderness I could not name. She led me to the center of the Trillium Circle. The petals glowed faintly, their edges tinged with silver. I knelt beside her, hesitant. Every instinct screamed caution, every muscle tensed. "Close your eyes," she whispered, her hand brushing mine. "Listen to the threads. Let them show you." I obeyed. And then it began, whispers, faint and melodic, like voices carried on the wind from centuries past. Memories not my own, yet familiar. A coven of women, cloaked in midnight, chanting beneath a silver moon. Symbols etched into the air, weaving patterns that spoke of protection, power, and belonging. The images were fleeting, yet piercing. Faces I did not recognize stared back at me, yet I knew them. I saw myself among them, not the Madra of battlefields, not the Valkyrie shrouded in despair, but a woman learning, laughing, and standing strong beside these witches. "Your ancestors," Rain said softly, her voice trembling like a chord struck just right. "They were part of the Trillium Moon. They walked the worlds between, just like you." I swallowed hard, the words settling like fire in my chest. I never knew. I thought I was alone. That all my strength, my purpose, everything was mine and mine alone. Rain shook her head, fingers tracing a circle in the air. Sparks of gold and violet followed her movements, weaving into the glowing petals. "You were never alone. You were always part of something larger, a web of magic, of memory, of blood and light. You just forgot." The glow along my wings intensified, stretching upward as if reaching for the sky itself. Each feather hummed with energy, memories of battles fought, lives saved, and coven rituals long past mingling in a kaleidoscope of power and truth. I pressed my palms to the petals, feeling the pulse beneath my fingers. Threads of memory wove through me, wrapping around my heart. A warmth bloomed in my chest, fragile yet undeniable. "You feel it, don't you?" Rain asked, stepping closer, her voice intimate, almost trembling. "The pull, the connection? You're not just a Valkyrie, Madra. You're part of our line. Part of something that's waited for you to remember." I nodded, though my throat was tight. "And yet, I am still trapped. Still, here." Rain's gaze softened, holding me in a stillness I hadn't known I craved. "Then we'll fix that," she said. "Together. I can help you control it, harness it. And maybe, you'll finally find your way home." Her words were a promise, a challenge, and a question all at once. The air between us vibrated with magic and desire, with fear and hope interlaced. I wanted to believe her. I needed to. For the first time in countless lifetimes, I dared to hope. And somewhere deep in my chest, something shifted, a thread I didn't know existed began to pull me forward, toward her, toward the truth, and toward the destiny I could no longer deny. Chapter 7. The Whispering Spell. The wind had a voice that night. A voice that hissed through the trees, curling around my ankles and threading its way through my hair. It carried a chill that wasn't natural, a weight that pressed against my ribs like a warning. I shouldn't have gone out after the sunset, but the trillium moon had awakened something in me, something impatient, restless. My wings ached beneath my coat, golden feathers stirring with power I could barely contain. Rain had left the grove hours ago, promising to return at first light, but I had stayed, drawn to the pulse of the petals, the memory of power humming through the soil. That's when I felt it. A shadow beneath the moonlight, coiling, watching. The hairs on my neck stood, every instinct screaming of sorcery. "You've grown strong," a voice said, soft and sibilant, curling like smoke around my ears. I spun. A man emerged from the trees, tall, thin, cloak black as midnight, eyes glinting with a cold, calculating light. His presence made the air vibrate, the magic thrumming through my veins in warning. "Who are you?" I demanded, keeping my wings folded, hiding my glow as best I could. "Imari," he said simply. "And I've been waiting for you." The name struck a chord deep in my memory. I remembered it, or thought I did, whispers of old battles, old deaths, curses carried in bloodlines. The air around him shimmered, spells twisting like snakes, invisible yet tangible. "You've been trying to leave," he said, voice calm but sharp. "But you can't. Not while I stand in your way." I stepped back, wings itching to unfurl, glow threatening to burst. "I don't know what you think you're doing, wizard. I've carried the fallen to Valhalla, and yet I awaken here. I am not yours to trap." Imari's lips curved into a faint smile, slow and knowing. "You are bound, Valkyrie. By choices you do not even remember. By lives you cannot undo. And by me. For centuries, I have ensured you remain unsettled." The ground beneath us pulsed, magic lacing the air with tension. I could feel my power responding, rising, wanting to fight, wanting to claim. But something in me hesitated. Something whispered caution. "You don't understand," I said, voice shaking. "I have never wronged your line. I carry the honor of the slain." Lies, Imari cut me off, voice snapping like steel. "You believe yourself righteous, but you slew one of my ancestors on the battlefield. Do you know what that means? The curse you wear is nothing compared to the debt you owe." A wave of fury and disbelief surged through me. I could feel wings straining against my back, my glow threatening to explode. "You are wrong. You are twisting the truth. I arrived after she had fallen, after betrayal had struck her. I did not slay her. I was helping." Imari's eyes flickered, and I saw the faintest hint of doubt, almost curiosity, buried beneath centuries of suspicion. "Then prove it," he said, voice low. "Convince me. Or remain bound to this world forever." My wings flared involuntarily, golden light spilling into the grove. The trillium petals trembled, reflecting the power surging through me. And as I did, I realized the truth of what must come next. I could no longer hide, could no longer deny what I am. If I wanted freedom, if I wanted Valhalla, if I wanted her, I would have to confront him. And the path would lead north, to Kirhome, to the battlefield where history had been twisted. Chapter 8. The Coven Song. The next morning, the air was heavy with dew and the scent of pine. Rain waited in the grove, her dark hair glinting in the pale sun, eyes bright and expectant. I had slept poorly, haunted by the wizard's words, the memory of Imari's gaze pressing against my soul. But the moment I stepped into the circle, the ache in my wings softened. "Good morning, Valkyrie," she said, her tone teasing but warm. "You look like someone who just wrestled a storm and lost." "I feel like I wrestled 1,000 storms," I muttered. My wings fluttered beneath my coat, restless and impatient. Rain's lips curved into a small smile. "Then today, we wrestle together." We knelt among the trillium petals. She guided my hands over the circle, murmuring words that vibrated through the soil, through my bones, through my very being. The glow beneath my skin hummed in response, small sparks flickering along my wings. Focus on the connection, she said softly. Not the power itself. The magic comes from the bond. Between your blood, your past, and me. My pulse hitched. The word me carried weight I hadn't expected. I wanted to shrink, to deny it, but the truth pressed against me like heat. Something ancient, patient, and relentless was stirring between us. I closed my eyes and let her voice guide me. Soft, melodic, like water over stones. The petals trembled, glowing brighter as threads of my past unfurled, memories of battles, of sisters lost and gained, of lives I thought forgotten. Good, Rain whispered. Now lift your wings. I hesitated. Memories of fire and blood, of cities and souls lost, rose like a tide. But Rain's hand brushed mine, steadying me, anchoring me. I exhaled and let the wings unfurl. Gold and white light poured out, washing over the grove. My heart pounded. My soul ached. And I realized something terrifying, exhilarating. I was alive in a way I hadn't been for centuries. Rain stepped closer, her hand hovering near my cheek, eyes bright with awe. You're more than a warrior, Gerdmadra. You're a force of creation, of light. And you don't even know it yet. I'm afraid, I admitted, voice trembling. Afraid of what I might lose, or destroy. Her fingers traced my jaw, soft and deliberate. Then trust me. Let me guide you. I've walked the path before. And I'll walk it with you. The intensity between us was undeniable. Heat pooled in my chest, in my wings, in places I hadn't touched in lifetimes. The glow of my feathers reflected in her stormwater eyes, and for a heartbeat, nothing else existed, no past, no battles, no curse. Only us, bound by power and destiny. When I finally lowered my wings, Rain smiled softly. Every day a little longer, she said. Every day a little brighter. Soon, you'll control it entirely. And then, maybe you'll be ready for what's coming. What's coming? I asked, my voice low, almost a whisper. Her gaze darkened, serious now. The truth, Gerdmadra. The truth about the past, about Imari, and about why you keep waking. The world you think you know is not what it seems. And the choice you make will change everything. I swallowed hard. The weight of centuries pressed down, but in her presence, I felt strong more than I had in lifetimes. More than I had ever dared to be. And for the first time, I understood something profound. I didn't just want Valhalla. I wanted her. Chapter 9. Visions in the Glow. The night was alive with whispers. I hadn't slept, though I tried. The glow beneath my skin pulsed in time with my heartbeat, each pulse like a drum of memory, of battles fought, of warriors carried to the halls of Valhalla, of lives that had been mine and yet not mine. I stood in the Trillium Grove, wings folded tight, but the hum of power beneath my skin would not be contained. Candlelight flickered, shadows twisting, reflecting not just my form but fragments of the past. Rain stepped into the circle, quiet and certain. You're ready, she said softly. Let them show you. I wanted to refuse, to hide, but the threads called to me. I exhaled, letting the glow rise, letting the light spill over my skin. My wings unfurled in a shimmer of gold and white, feathers trembling as if alive. Then the visions came, sharp, unrelenting, vivid. I saw the Kirhome battlefield, smoke and steel, the clash of swords and cries of men. A woman fell, betrayed by her own, and I arrived too late to save her, yet close enough to bear her into Valhalla. Memories of honor, of rage, of sorrow I had thought forgotten, played behind my eyes like fire on water. Another life. I was in a small village, teaching children to read the stars, yet the war came again, relentless, devouring all I loved. I was there, carrying the fallen, lifting souls as the smoke of battle blotted out the sun. And then a coven of women, chanting beneath a silver moon, threads of magic weaving between us, binding us across centuries. Faces I knew yet didn't, my ancestors, my sisters, my allies. I felt their hands guiding mine, shaping my power, reminding me of my place in the world, my place in the web of magic I had forgotten. I gasped, staggering back as the visions intensified. Rain caught me, steadying me. Her hands pressed to my shoulders, grounding me, her eyes locked on mine. You see now, she whispered. The threads of your life, your power, your destiny. You're part of something larger, Gerdmadra. Always have been. I swallowed, my throat tight with awe and despair. I've carried so much, for so long. And yet I keep returning. Why? Why am I trapped? Rain's fingers brushed my cheek, tender and fierce. Because there's still work for you here. There's still truth to uncover, and someone who thinks they can control you. You're not trapped. You're being prepared. Her words should have comforted me, but they only made the ache sharper. The weight of centuries pressed against me, the memories of every death, every rebirth, every lost moment with my sisters. I don't know if I can do it, I whispered, voice breaking. I don't know if I can bear it again. You can, Rain said firmly. Because you're not alone. And because this time, you won't be fighting without purpose, without guidance. You have me. And I will not let you fall. Her words were a tether, pulling me back from the brink of despair. My wings flared once, then settled, glowing softly under the silver light. The visions receded, leaving only fragments, only whispers. But I knew one truth with unshakable certainty. I was not alone. And for the first time in lifetimes, I dared to hope that I might finally find a home in the magic, in the world, and in her. Chapter 10. The First Confrontation. The wind had a bite that night, sharper than any blade I had ever felt. I knew he was coming before I saw him in Mari. The shadows shifted unnaturally, curling around the trunks of the trees, whispering in a language older than the stones beneath my feet. My wings stirred involuntarily, golden feathers trembling with the power I had barely begun to control. You shouldn't have returned here, a voice hissed, low and cutting, carrying over the mist like a knife. I stepped forward into the clearing, wings half unfurled, glow pulsing along my back. You can't keep doing this, wizard. I am not yours to bind. Imari emerged from the darkness, cloak flowing like liquid night, eyes cold fire. You don't understand what's been done, Gerdmadra. Every return, every rebirth, every life, you are bound by a chain you cannot break. It's a chain I cannot break. The air thickened. Magic rippled around us, pulling at the edges of the grove, at the petals of the trillium moon. I felt centuries of exhaustion, sorrow, and rage simmering beneath my skin, demanding release. Rain stepped forward, her hand brushing mine. The warmth of her touch steadied me, anchored me. You're stronger than you know, she whispered, voice soft but unwavering. Remember the threads. Remember what you are. I drew in a breath, letting the glow rise. Wings spread wide, light blazing along the feathers. The grove trembled as the magic coalesced, powerful and raw. You won't win, I said, voice steady, stronger than I felt. I carry the honor of those who fell before me. You cannot claim me. Imari's smile was slow, calculating, but there was a flicker of doubt in his eyes. Then show me the truth, Valkyrie. Show me that you are not the enemy of my line. And so I did. Visions erupted behind my eyes, flashing the battlefield at Kirhome, the betrayal that had taken Imari's ancestor, the moment I had lifted her into Valhalla. The threads of memory wove through me, spilling outward in golden light. I did not slay her, I said, voice carrying the weight of centuries. I arrived after she had fallen. I bore her honor to Valhalla. You've been deceived by centuries of mistrust. Imari faltered, eyes widening as the truth shimmered in the light of my wings. I felt every lifetime, every loss, every battle flash through me, and I realized I was no longer just defending myself. I was defending all the lives that had been carried forward, all the honor of my sisters, all the threads of fate entwined with mine. You were telling the truth, he murmured, voice low, heavy with disbelief. Rain's hand tightened over mine. See? Truth doesn't always come easy, but it will always shine through. I lowered my wings slowly, letting the glow dim, but the strength remained, steady and alive. The grove was silent, the mist curling around us like a witness. Imari's gaze met mine, no longer adversarial, but wary, unsure. This isn't over, my ancestor still was betrayed, and how do I know it's not you, he said finally, retreating into the shadows. But I will watch. And I will listen. And then he was gone, leaving only the hum of magic, the pulse of my wings, and Rain's hand warm against mine. I exhaled, the weight of centuries pressing on me, yet somehow lighter. For the first time, I felt the taste of freedom, fragile, fleeting, but real. Rain's eyes held mine, unspoken words trembling between us. You were magnificent, she whispered. I let myself smile, a small, fleeting thing. I had help. Her laughter was soft, melodic, and it wrapped around me like sunlight through storm clouds. And for the first time in lifetimes, I believed that maybe, just maybe, I could finally find my way home, not just to Valhalla, but to her. Chapter 11. Training in the Twilight. The sun dipped low, casting the grove in a molten twilight. Shadows stretched long, mingling with the soft glow of the trillium petals beneath our feet. I could feel the hum of magic thick in the air, whispering to me, tugging at every muscle, every feather, every heartbeat. Rain stood across from me, eyes glinting in the dim light. We start with control, she said, voice calm but insistent. You can't fight destiny if you can't control yourself. I nodded, wings tight against my back. My palms were clammy, pulse racing. Every fiber of me wanted to surge, to blaze, to let centuries of pent-up energy explode. But she wouldn't let me. Not yet. Focus on me, she instructed. Not the light, not the wings, not the power. Me. Feel the rhythm between us. Let it guide you. Her words, soft as they were, ignited something in me. Something I hadn't felt in centuries, trust. And something else, desire unspoken, pulling at my chest. I inhaled deeply, letting the glow rise, small sparks running along my feathers, teasing, humming, alive. Good, she whispered. Now extend the wings. I did, hesitating only briefly before letting them stretch, unfurl, catching the last rays of sun. Gold and white shimmered, feathers trembling as they responded to my pulse. Rain stepped closer, just close enough for our fingertips to brush. My chest tightened. Now control it, she said, her hand hovering near mine. Don't fight it. Guide it. I felt the glow spiral around us, weaving into the trillium circle, dancing across petals. The wind picked up, tugging at my hair, at the edges of my coat, at the edges of my heart. I let the wings flare, then fold, then flare again, riding the rhythm like I would have ridden a battle charge long ago. See? Rain's voice was breathless, elated. You're more than a Valkyrie. You're everything. Her hand touched mine. Just a brush, but the current it sparked ran through me hotter than fire. I faltered, wings trembling, glow flickering, memory of centuries threatening to overwhelm me. Steady, she murmured, eyes locking on mine. Feel me. Let me anchor you. I inhaled, exhaled, and let the light settle, hum vibrating in harmony with her presence. The glow stabilized, wings folding perfectly against my back. And for the first time in countless lifetimes, I felt it. Mastery. She smiled softly, fingers brushing my cheek. You're ready for what's coming. I wanted to speak, to tell her what I felt, the pull, the ache, the desire. But the words lodged in my throat, tangled with centuries of war, loss, and exile. Instead, I let her hand linger, let the warmth burn into me, and nodded. Yes, I whispered. I'm ready. The twilight deepened, shadows curling around us, petals glowing faintly under my wings. And in the quiet, I realized something terrifying and exhilarating. I wasn't just preparing to face Imari again. I was preparing to face myself and the undeniable truth of what I had found in her. Chapter 12. Echoes of the Ancestors. The grove was silent, but it was alive with voices I could almost hear, whispers threading through the trillium petals like silver wind. My wings tingled with anticipation, feathers bristling as if the air itself carried the memories of lifetimes. Rain stood beside me, calm and grounded, her hand brushing mine lightly. They're speaking to you, she said softly. Your ancestors, the Valkyrie, the Coven, all of them. Listen. I closed my eyes, and suddenly I was somewhere else. Not the grove, not the earth as I knew it. I was on the edge of a cliff, wind tearing at my hair, snow and ash in the air. I saw faces, some familiar, some alien, fighting, laughing, falling, rising again. Threads of golden light connected us, fragile but unbreakable. I recognized one among them. A Valkyrie sister, smiling as she lifted a fallen warrior, her expression proud and serene. Another, a coven witch, chanting beneath the silver trillium moon, hands outstretched as if holding the world together. And then, a spark of recognition, one of Imari's ancestors, eyes wide with betrayal, before a shadow struck and the life was torn away. The visions rushed through me like a storm. Every life I had lived, every battle I had fought, every time I had carried a soul to Valhalla, flickered before my eyes. The pain, the love, the despair, the fleeting moments of joy, all of it, in a dizzying, overwhelming wave. Rain's voice broke through the chaos. You see it, don't you? The truth of it. What you were, what you are, what you've carried. Tears stung my eyes, the centuries of loss pressing against my chest. I remember them all. And yet, I still feel the weight of betrayal, the wrongs I never committed. Then set it right, she whispered, pressing a hand to my chest. Her warmth anchored me, the hum of magic steadying the storm. Your ancestors trusted you. The coven trusted you. And the Valkyrie who came before, they all believed in you. Now it's your turn to believe. I drew in a shuddering breath, wings flexing instinctively. The glow beneath my skin pulsed stronger, golden light radiating outward, lifting the mist like dawn breaking over a battlefield. Imari's curse isn't stronger than truth, Rain said firmly, eyes locking on mine. But you have to face it. You have to face him. And you have to face what he's been keeping from you. A low growl of anticipation rose in my chest. I had known confrontation would come, but the clarity of my purpose, the weight of centuries of memory, the ties of ancestry, made the fear sharpen into resolve. I nodded, voice steady. I will face him. And I will carry the truth with me. I will not be bound by lies any longer. Rain smiled softly, brushing a strand of hair from my face. And I will be with you. Always. Through every battle, every storm, every lifetime. The grove pulsed with energy, wings glowing, petals trembling. For the first time, I felt whole. Not just a Valkyrie, not just a wanderer between lifetimes, but part of a lineage, a legacy, and a love that could not be broken. And somewhere deep in my soul, I knew the final battle was coming. And I would meet it, not alone, but with her by my side. Chapter 13, The Path to Kirhome. The morning air was crisp, biting at my skin as we stepped out of the grove. The world felt different somehow, sharper, older, charged with the weight of the past and the promise of what was to come. The path ahead wound through dense forests, rivers of mist curling around gnarled roots and moss-covered stones. Rain walked beside me, steady, confident, her presence a tether to the mortal world and the magic that coursed between us. Every so often, her hand brushed mine, and sparks of warmth shot through my chest, grounding me even as the memories of lifetimes and battles pulsed beneath my skin. I can feel him, she said quietly, eyes scanning the tree-line. Imari. He knows we're moving. He's waiting, plotting. I clenched my fists, wings flexing beneath my coat instinctively. He won't stop me this time. Not if I bring the whole truth. Rain's lips curved in a small, encouraging smile. Good. Then remember what we've practiced. Control the glow. Control the wings. Let the magic follow your will, not your fear. The journey was arduous, the terrain steep and unyielding. We climbed for hours, the mountains rising like jagged teeth into the gray sky. Each step carried the weight of centuries, the echo of battles long past, the sorrow of warriors I had carried into Valhalla. Yet every step was lighter with Rain at my side, her presence a balm and a fire all at once. As dusk fell, we set up a small camp on a rocky ledge overlooking the valley below. The wind whipped through the peaks, carrying the scent of pine and snow. I unrolled my cloak, letting my wings stretch and shimmer faintly in the fading light. You're ready, Rain said, kneeling beside me. I can feel it. Not just your strength, your heart. You've carried lifetimes, Gerd Madra, but you're still here. Still fighting. Still alive. Her gaze held mine, intense and unwavering, and I felt something stir deep in my chest, longing, desire, something I had buried under centuries of war and loss. "I don't know if I'm ready for what comes next," I admitted softly. "You are," she whispered, brushing a strand of hair from my face. "And we face it together. Every step, every breath, every heartbeat. You won't be alone." The wind carried her words like a promise, and I let myself believe them. For the first time in lifetimes, I allowed the hope to bloom, fragile and luminous. Night fell, and the mountains loomed like silent sentinels. I watched the stars shimmer above, feeling the pulse of magic beneath my skin, the warmth of Rain's hand lingering in mine. Somewhere deep in the shadows, I knew Imari was watching, waiting for the moment to strike. But I also knew this. I had the truth, I had my power, and I had her. And with that, I would face whatever came next. Chapter 14: Shadows in the Peaks. The mountains loomed like jagged guardians, their peaks shrouded in mist and shadow. Each step I took along the narrow path felt like stepping into history itself, centuries of blood and honor bleeding through the stones beneath my feet. My wings itched to spread, to soar, to carry me above the treacherous cliffs, but Rain's hand on mine grounded me, a tether to reality, to warmth, to life. "I can feel him," Rain murmured, her eyes scanning the gray sky. "He's near. Be ready." I nodded, wings trembling beneath my coat. My glow flared faintly, responding to the tension in the air. Imari was here. I could feel it, a shadow threading through the wind, magic sharp as steel, watching, waiting. Suddenly, the mist shifted, coiling unnaturally. A ripple of cold struck my chest, making my glow flare brighter. "Imari," I whispered, voice low and steady despite the surge of fear. From the shadows, he stepped forward, cloak flowing, eyes glinting with that familiar, calculating fire. "You've come far, Valkyrie," he said, voice cutting through the wind like a blade. "But this is where your journey ends, or begins, depending on what you choose." I flexed my wings, golden feathers trembling, the glow pulsing in rhythm with my heartbeat. "I will not be bound by lies or curses any longer. I carry the truth, and I will prove it." He smiled, slow and chilling. "Then let us see if your strength matches your conviction." Magic lanced through the air, invisible but heavy, pressing against my skin, tugging at my bones. I let my wings flare, light spilling across the peaks like dawn breaking through storm clouds. Rain's hand squeezed mine, grounding me, her presence a steady heartbeat in the chaos. We moved as one, instinct and training guiding us. The mist swirled, and suddenly Imari was upon us, spells flaring in bursts of blue and silver. I dodged, wings flaring to shield us, the glow blinding and beautiful. "You're stronger than I expected," he said, voice tight with restrained fury. "But you cannot fight destiny itself." "Destiny?" I spat, voice fierce. "I am destiny. I carry centuries of truth, honor, and power. You will not keep me from it." Rain stepped forward, chanting softly, weaving threads of magic that intertwined with my own. The ground trembled beneath our combined power, petals of the trillium moon swirling in a luminous storm. For a heartbeat, the world fell away, only light, wings, magic, and the undeniable pull of her warmth against mine. Then Imari struck again, his magic slicing through the mist, and the battle truly began. I had faced warriors, gods, and death itself, but the weight of centuries and the presence of Rain made this fight unlike any before. Every strike, every flash of power, every heartbeat carried the truth we were bound to protect, and the promise of something more, something I had never dared to hope for, a home, a heart, a future. Chapter 15: The Storm of Truth. The storm had risen without warning, wind whipping around the Kirhome peaks like a living thing. Lightning split the sky, illuminating jagged cliffs and the swirling mists of centuries past. My wings flexed instinctively, glowing brighter with each surge of fear, anger, and power. Imari stood across from me, eyes blazing, spellfire crackling along his fingertips. "You defy the threads of fate, Valkyrie. Do you truly think you can change what has been set in motion for generations?" I stepped forward, wings flaring wide, golden light cascading over the rocky ground. I am the truth, Imari. I carry the honor of my sisters, the guidance of my ancestors, and the courage of every life I have lived. Lies cannot hold me. His spell struck, a flash of blue energy that tore through the air toward me. I raised my wings, the glow repelling it, feathers shimmering with raw, unbridled power. Rain's voice cut through the roar of the storm, grounding me. Focus, Gerd Madra. Feel the threads, the truth, let it guide you. Memories flashed in my mind, scenes of battles long past, the moment I had lifted Imari's ancestor into Valhalla, the betrayal on the Kirhome battlefield, the magic of the coven of the Trillium Moon weaving through my bloodline. I saw it all with startling clarity, every lie, every misunderstanding, every moment that had chained me to this endless cycle. Your ancestor, I said, voice echoing with authority and pain, was taken to Valhalla because she helped, not because I harmed her. You've been living in shadow and mistrust for centuries. But the truth is here now. Imari faltered, eyes widening, a flicker of disbelief cracking the fury in his gaze. That can't be. Yes, I continued, wings unfurling to their full glory, the glow surrounding me like a living halo. I bore her honor as a Valkyrie. I protected what was sacred. And now I stand before you, not as an enemy, but as the truth you've refused to see. Rain stepped beside me, her hand brushing mine, grounding me even as the storm raged. See it, Imari, she said firmly. The past cannot be rewritten by fear or vengeance. It's carried in our actions, in the honor we uphold. Your ancestor was saved. The Valkyrie did not betray you. She delivered what was promised. The storm seemed to hesitate, wind and lightning pausing in a tense, electric silence. Imari's fists clenched, then relaxed, the fire in his eyes dimming as he struggled with disbelief and the weight of centuries of misjudgment. You were telling the truth, he muttered finally, voice heavy, raw. But, yes, I said, voice steady, radiant with centuries of power and purpose. I have carried the truth. And I will not let lies chain me any longer. Rain's fingers laced with mine, warmth and light anchoring me. For the first time in lifetimes, I felt free to wield my wings, my magic, my power, and free to feel what I had long denied. My heart raced, not just with triumph, but with something infinitely more dangerous and exquisite. Desire. Hope. Love. The storm above mirrored the tempest within me, but I was no longer afraid. I was ready. For the battles that remained, for the confrontation that would finally set us free, and for the love I had found in her eyes. Chapter 16. The Kirhome Reckoning. The wind tore through the peaks like a living scream, snow whipping into our faces as we reached the heart of Kirhome. The mountain was silent now, the calm before the storm, yet the air vibrated with centuries of magic, honor, and vengeance. Imari waited at the ridge, arms crossed, eyes narrowed. His aura shimmered with power, restrained but lethal. The truth had shaken him, but the ember of pride and doubt burned still, like he cannot let go of his anger. You've brought her here, he said, voice low, almost grudging. The Valkyrie and the witch. The balance of fate itself hangs in your hands. I stepped forward, wings spreading wide, glowing like dawn over ice and stone. I carry more than fate, Imari. I carry truth, honor, and centuries of lives that depended on it. Today lies end. Today we finish this. Rain's hand found mine, warmth grounding me even as my wings flared, brilliant gold and white, shimmering with raw, pulsating power. We face this together, she whispered. Whatever comes, we do it side by side. The mountains seemed to quake in response. Imari raised his hands, spellfire crackling, the air humming with energy. And then the clash began. Lightning danced across the peaks as spells collided with Valkyrie power, feathers flaring, light and shadow spinning in a tempest of magic. I moved instinctively, every strike precise, every motion honed by centuries of battle. Imari's attacks were relentless, but I could feel Rain's presence guiding me, steadying me, strengthening the glow within. Each pulse of light from my wings was a tether to her, to my ancestors, to every life I had lived and carried. You cannot escape the truth. I shouted, voice cutting through wind and magic. Your ancestor was saved. I bore her honor into Valhalla. His eyes widened as my words struck, a fissure forming in his resolve. No, it cannot be. You made me see what you wanted. No, I cried, wings unfurling fully, glow radiant, feathers humming with centuries of life and power. You've been deceived. Lies chained you. But today, the truth is stronger than your magic. A surge of golden light erupted from me, wings beating against the storm, and Imari staggered, the weight of the revelation breaking his stance. Rain stepped closer, chanting softly, weaving her magic into mine, binding us together in light and purpose. Finally, with a roar of wind and fire, I felt the culmination of all my lifetime surge through me. Imari fell to his knees, defeated not by fury, but by the undeniable force of truth and honor. I lowered my wings slowly, breathing hard, glow settling into a steady pulse. Rain's hand remained in mine, grounding me, heart to heart. The storm above mirrored the tempest in my soul, now calming, light spilling over the peaks like dawn. Imari looked up at me, eyes wide with awe and reluctant respect. The truth, you carried it all along, he whispered. I understand now. I nodded, wings folding against my back. And now you must carry that understanding forward. Let it guide you. Rain pressed close, lips brushing my temple, a quiet promise. You were magnificent, she murmured. And we've only just begun. I exhaled, letting the centuries of burden slip slightly from my shoulders. The Kirhome Mountains had witnessed centuries of battle, of death, of honor betrayed. And today, they bore witness to the vindication of a Valkyrie, the strength of truth, and the power of love that had survived lifetimes. For the first time, I felt the edges of eternity brush against me, and I was ready to step into it. Chapter 17, Ascension and Revelation. The wind had softened, carrying only whispers now echoes of lifetimes, soft and reverent, curling around the peaks of Kirhome. My wings, fully unfurled, glowed with a brilliance that seemed to illuminate the very air, light cascading over stone and snow. I stood at the ridge, feeling the pull of Valhalla calling, beckoning me home. The weight of countless lifetimes pressed against me, but the warmth of Rain's hand anchored me in the moment, in this world, in the connection that had grown between us. You're ready, Rain said, voice gentle, carrying the resonance of love and trust. Her fingers intertwined with mine, grounding me, steadying me, a tether stronger than any magic I had known. Are you sure? Are you ready? I swallowed, the glow of my wings pulsing in rhythm with my heartbeat. I think I've always been ready, but not without you. Her eyes widened, shimmering in the twilight. Not without me? I nodded, feeling centuries of longing, loss, and hope crystallize in that moment. I have fought battles, carried souls, faced death itself. I have been alive for countless lifetimes, yet never have I known what it means to truly be home, until you. Rain stepped closer, her hands cupping my face, and I felt the pull of desire, of longing, of a love that had survived every incarnation. Gerd Madra, she breathed, voice trembling. I feel it too. The wind rose again, snow spiraling around us, but the storm no longer felt threatening. It felt like acknowledgement, a chorus of the Valkyrie, the coven, the ancestors, blessing this union, this choice. I closed my eyes, letting the glow intensify, wings spreading wide as energy from lifetimes past coursed through me. I lifted from the stone, light cascading down the mountainside, and in that moment, I realized something extraordinary. I did not need to cross to Valhalla alone. I did not need to leave the world, or Rain, or the bond we had forged. I had found my Valhalla in her. Then come with me, I whispered, lifting her hand to my lips, a kiss soft and reverent. Stay with me, Rain. Let us walk this path together, no matter where it leads. Tears glimmered in her eyes as she nodded, lips brushing mine in a kiss that spoke of lifetimes lost and lifetimes yet to come. Our magic intertwined, wings brushing, glow merging, the very air vibrating with the power of our union. And then I felt it, the presence of Odin, distant yet intimate, a whisper in the wind. I knelt, gaze raised to the storm-kissed sky, voice carried in prayer. I have carried honor, truth, and courage for centuries. I have fought, I have loved, I have lived. I ask to stay with her. Let my heart remain, my name strengthened, my spirit unbroken. A rush of wind circled us, the peaks glowing with celestial light, and in that instant, a voice deep, commanding, yet warm, resonated through me. So shall it be. You shall be named Solveig, strength of the house. Your courage, love, and truth endure, and your place is chosen, not in shadows of battle, but in the hearts you have touched. I rose, golden light surrounding me, wings shining like molten fire. I turned to Rain, eyes locking on hers, and for the first time in lifetimes, I felt truly whole. Gerd Madra, she whispered, voice trembling. Solveig, you're mine. And you are my home, I said, voice strong and certain. My Valhalla, my heart, my life. The mountains bore witness, the winds sang with our joy, and for the first time in countless ages, I knew peace. Chapter 18, Strength of the House. The sun rose over the peaks, casting warm gold across the Kirchholm Mountains. Snow sparkled like diamonds, and the air, though still crisp, carried a softness that felt like a sigh after centuries of storm. I stood beside Rain, wings tucked close, the glow of my magic settling into a gentle warmth that pulsed with each breath. For the first time, the weight of countless lifetimes didn't press against me. Instead, it rested lightly, a reminder of battles won, truths told, and love found. She nudged me playfully with her shoulder, a mischievous grin tugging at her lips. So, Solveig, she teased, how does it feel, having a fancy new name and centuries of badassery wrapped into one immortal package? I laughed, the sound spilling across the mountains like wind over snow. Exhilarating. Terrifying. And slightly overwhelming, especially with you teasing me. Her laughter joined mine, bright and melodic, and I felt a joy that was almost dizzying. Good, she said, brushing a strand of hair from my face. You earned it. All of it. And I plan to make sure you enjoy every second of it. The warmth in her touch, the steady heartbeat against mine, sent a ripple of power through me, soft and grounding. I flexed my wings, letting the light shimmer faintly, a playful glow that matched the teasing spark in her eyes. I don't need Valhalla, I murmured, voice soft, almost reverent. I have it here. I have you. Her gaze softened, fingers tracing the line of my jaw. Then stay, she whispered, voice low and sure. Not just for today or tomorrow. Stay with me. Let's make our own Valhalla, our own home, our own rules. I leaned into her touch, feeling centuries of longing melt away in her warmth. I've fought wars, carried souls, and faced death countless times, I said, letting a small smile curve my lips. And I've realized, the fiercest battle isn't against others. It's against letting myself feel this, let myself stay. But now I don't want to fight it anymore. Her laugh was soft, teasing again, and then her lips brushed mine in a kiss full of promise, light, and fire. Good, she said against my mouth. Because I don't plan on letting you run from me ever again. The mountains held their silence, snow sparkling in witness to our laughter, our magic, our light. Wings brushed, hands intertwined, hearts aligned across centuries of longing and loss. I closed my eyes, letting the warmth of rain, the grounding of our magic, and the settling of Kirchholm's storm wrap around me. For the first time in lifetimes, I could simply be. And I knew whatever battles, whatever storms, whatever centuries awaited, I would face them not alone, but with her. My anchor, my fire, my home. Ready for breakfast? Rain asked suddenly, her tone mock solemn, a mischievous glint in her eyes. I laughed, letting the glow of my wings pulse playfully. Only if it involves something sweet, and you. She grinned, tugging me along the ridge. Oh, I can do sweet. But you, Solveig, are the real treat. And in that laughter, in that warmth, in that tender touch, I realized the truth I had searched lifetimes to find. Strength wasn't just in wings, magic, or battle. Strength was in love, in trust, in finding the one soul who made eternity feel like home. And I had found mine. Chapter 19. Secrets of the Coven. The forest at the base of Kirhome shimmered with an otherworldly glow, leaves rustling like whispers in the wind. Every tree, every stone seemed to hum with energy, pulsing in rhythm with the magic that now coursed through me. Rain led me along a narrow path, her fingers brushing mine from time to time, grounding me, teasing me, filling the spaces between words with warmth. "Ready to meet the past?" she asked, voice low, playful, yet edged with reverence. I laughed softly, a mix of anticipation and nervousness. "The past, huh? I hope it doesn't bite." She smirked. "Oh, it bites. But in a good way." We came upon a circle of silver trillium moon flowers, their petals luminescent, swaying gently even without wind. I knelt instinctively, wings brushing the earth, feeling threads of magic stir beneath my fingertips. Memories flickered, not just my own, but lifetimes before me, Valkyrie's training, witches chanting, alliances forged and broken. Every thread wove together, revealing a tapestry of connection I had never fully understood. "Your ancestors were deeply intertwined with the Coven," Rain said, voice hushed. "The Trillium Moon, the magic, it's in your blood. Every life you've lived, every soul you've carried, you were always part of this." I closed my eyes, letting the visions wash over me, my hands tracing symbols, wings unfurling in rituals long forgotten, chants echoing through the mountains. The glow inside me pulsed brighter, responding to the magic, and for the first time, I understood, truly understood, the depth of my power. "So, all this time," I whispered, softening my voice, "I've carried more than just battles. I've carried legacy. Magic. Love. Duty." Rain knelt beside me, fingers weaving lightly through the glow around my hands. "And now you can choose how to carry it," she said. "Not just for duty, not just for honor, but for us. For the bond we forged, for the future we create together." I opened my eyes, wings shimmering, and found her gaze. Desire, trust, and affection burned in her eyes, making my chest ache with something ancient and new all at once. "For us," I echoed, voice thick with emotion. She laughed softly, brushing a strand of hair from my face, playful yet intimate. "You're glowing again. I swear, it's impossible for you to not light up the world." I smirked, letting the glow pulse in response. "Maybe I just like showing off for you." Her lips curved into a teasing smile. "Good. Because I plan to make sure you never stop." We lingered in the grove, hands entwined, magic weaving through us like an unspoken promise. Every flicker of light, every pulse of power, every brush of wings against the petals reminded me I was not just a Valkyrie. I was Solveig, descendant of warriors and witches, bearer of magic, and above all, anchored to her. The forest hummed around us, ancient and alive, a testament to everything we had survived, everything we had learned, and everything we would face together. And in that moment, I realized home wasn't a place. It wasn't Valhalla or the peaks of Kirhome. Home was her, the magic we shared, the bond that had survived lifetimes of chaos. I leaned into her, wings wrapping lightly around us both, the glow fading into a gentle warmth. "Thank you," I whispered, voice soft, almost reverent. "For showing me all of this. For being my anchor." Rain smiled, lips brushing my temple. "And thank you for being my light, Solveig. My strength. My home." And together, beneath the silver glow of the Trillium Moon, we let the magic of our ancestors, our love, and our bond settle, binding us closer than anything time or lifetimes could undo. Chapter 20. Valhalla Within. The Kirhome peaks glimmered in the first light of dawn, the snow sparkling like scattered stars. A hush settled over the mountains, as if the world itself paused to witness the peace that had been hard-won. I stood beside Rain, wings folded now, glowing softly, the pulse of my magic mingling with hers. Every heartbeat, every breath, resonated with the truth of who I was: Solveig, strength of the house. A Valkyrie, a descendant of the Coven, a warrior, and hers. "You feel it, don't you?" Rain asked softly, brushing a strand of hair from my face. Her eyes held the same intensity one had seen countless times in battle, only now softened with warmth and something infinitely more intimate. The magic, the legacy, it's alive in you. I smiled, letting the glow shimmer faintly across the snow. I've carried it for lifetimes, but never like this. Never with you beside me. Her laugh was a soft melody, teasing yet tender. Finally admitting it, Solveig? That you can't do this without me. I reached for her, fingers brushing hers, wings fluttering in gentle arcs, light pulsing in time with our hearts. I've realized I don't want to do this without you. Not now, not ever. She leaned closer, and our lips met in a kiss that was all the battles, all the storms, all the lifetimes distilled into one perfect moment. Heat surged, wings brushed, magic flared, and I felt eternity fold into the simple truth. I had found my home. We parted slightly, foreheads resting together, breaths mingling. You're glowing again, she whispered, teasing, but her voice carried awe and love. I glow because of you, I admitted, voice low, reverent. Because you showed me what I've been searching for all along. Rain smiled, fingers tracing the line of my jaw. And I'll make sure you never forget it. Valhalla isn't a place, Solveig. It's this. It's us. Together. Here. Now. I nodded, letting her words sink deep into the core of me. Wings folded, but the warmth lingered, pulsing with life, love, and unspoken promises. I felt centuries of battles, losses, and rebirths settle into a calm, steady heartbeat, one that no longer needed to race with fear or uncertainty. Then let's make this ours, I said, voice firm but gentle. Every lifetime, every battle, every choice that brought us here, it all led to this moment. And I choose you. Always. Her laughter, soft and breathless, carried across the peaks. Always, she echoed, pressing close again. The mountains bore witness, the snow glimmered, and the wind carried the whispers of ancestors, Valkyries, witches, all blessing the bond that had survived time itself. In that moment, I realized something I had never truly known in countless lifetimes. Valhalla wasn't a distant realm to cross into. It wasn't a destination reached through battle or death. It was found in the light of love, in the strength of trust, in the magic we nurtured together. And I had found it. In her arms, in the glow of our joined magic, in the heartbeat that matched mine perfectly, I had found Valhalla within. I smiled, pressing my forehead to hers. My heart, my home, my Valhalla, I whispered. And mine, Solveig, she said, lips brushing mine in a final, tender kiss that promised lifetimes more. The mountains whispered, the wind sang, and for the first time in eternity, I felt truly at peace. Together, we had crossed every battle, every misunderstanding, every storm. And together, we would rise not just as warriors or witches, not just as Valkyrie or mortal, but as something stronger, something eternal. Strength of the house. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe and like this video and follow me for more stories. You are always welcome here, and leave me a comment or a thumbs up, just letting me know if you like the story and would like more, or is there perhaps an idea that you would like to share or let me write for you.